Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So the focus of this particular video is going to be two characters from Rogue One, and these are what are referred to as the Guardians of the Whills, and these are the protectors of the Jedi Temple on the planet Jedha. And the characters that we're going to look at are Baze Malbus and Chirrut Imwe. And these characters were introduced in Rogue One and basically only exist in that movie because most of the main characters actually perish at the end of the film. But they are very memorable, and for as little screen time as they actually have, they really kind of stand out as really just amazing, interesting characters in the world of Star Wars. And I'm actually hoping at some point Lucasfilm will do another project featuring these characters, whether in animated form or perhaps they might even make an appearance in the Andor series, probably in season 2, if it happens at all, because basically they exist on Jedha, where Saw Gerrera eventually sets up his base of operations. And I have a feeling Cassian Andor had been to that planet prior to the events of Rogue One. So it's very possible he may have met these guys before. He does seem to be having a fairly favorable opinion of them by the time we get to the events of the movie. So it's pretty interesting, and I'm very hopeful that we'll get to see these guys again. So what I'm going to show you today is primarily the Black Series figures because they have a lot of detail and articulation. But I want to also show you the 3 3/4 inch versions of these characters as well. So these versions only have 5 points of articulation. But what they lack in articulation, they make up for in terms of all the intricate sculpting and detail. I got to say, this time period, even though so many of the figures really didn't have, a lot of good movement in terms of the limbs, the sculpting on them was superb, and this figure is no exception. As you can see, Baze has his unique weapon with this backpack attachment. Very powerful weapon, as we've seen in the events of Rogue One, so it can actually do a lot of damage in a very short amount of time. So again, I think they did an amazing job in terms of the head sculpt and also all the detail on this figure. So very cool, very happy to have that in my collection. And they also did Chirrut Imwe, and you can see again very detailed look at the head sculpt and all the intricate details of the outfit as well. So and he comes with 2 weapons. He's got his staff and also this I think they call it a longbow, something like that. So very cool weapon, and again just a very interesting character, and I think they did a very good job with the 3 3/4 inch version of this. There's also a version of this that they made for the vintage collection. I don't have that in my collection, but it's possible I might add that at some point in the future. It has a lot better articulation than this particular version of it. So next we're going to talk about the Black Series versions. So we'll look at Baze Malbus, and I will be getting these out of the package so we can look at the articulation up close in detail. And you can see this is during the time period when these were done with sort of like this black and red kind of packaging style. And you can see a brief write-up on Baze here on the back of the package. And it just has this sort of black and white imagery of the character. And again, they had this sort of red block on the side of the package like that. So I actually picked these up fairly cheap. They were actually selling them at this store chain called Five Below. So I actually picked up both of these for $5 each, which was a pretty amazing deal considering how detailed they are. And, these characters, again, a couple of my favorites from Rogue One, and, just really, very happy to have these in my collection. You can see the write-up here on Chirrut Imwe on the back. And again, it's got that red and black style for the packaging. So looks really cool in the package, but I'm anxious to get these out of the package so we can take a look at the details up close. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we got these 2 guys out of the package now, and overall I think they look amazing. As you can see here on Baze Malbus, they just did an incredible job in terms of the head sculpt and everything. I like all the detail and like the hair and everything. This weapon on his backpack is really impressive as well. This is done in a very soft plastic, this part that actually attaches it to the backpack. So that's very, kind of flexible. And as you can see, you can hold the weapon with both hands like he does in the movie. So I think that looks very cool. And A lot of really good detail on his outfit as well, the armor pieces and the detail in his jumpsuit. So looks pretty amazing, and I want to go over the articulation on this figure too. So we'll undo the weapon so I can show you what that's like. At the head, it's pretty much just a swivel. He does get a little bit of front and back movement and a tiny amount of side to side, but it's kind of tough just because this neck piece sort of inhibits how much you can actually move his head around. So yeah, somewhat limited articulation there. At the shoulder, he can extend up like this. Also gets a 360-degree rotation as well. At the elbow, he gets bending back and forth, and also a pivot joint there as well. So that's very cool. At the wrist, he gets a rotation and also bending back and forth like this. The mid-torso, there's an articulation point here. So it's pretty much a swivel. There's not too much in terms of side to side or front and back movement there. It's kind of tough to move that around. So yeah, not a lot of movement there. At the hip, he can kick out just a little bit. Also gets back and forth movement like this. And there's also a thigh rotation right here. You can see that. And at the knee, there's a double joint here. So you can see he can bend pretty far back in terms of the knee movement. Also, he gets bending back and forth at the ankle like this. And there's also the ankle rocker from side to side. So pretty good articulation. It's a little tough on this one just because that jumpsuit is a little bulky and it sort of inhibits how much movement he actually gets. But overall, pretty good. I mean, it's pretty typical for most of these Black Series to have this kind of articulation. So not too bad. And then on Chirrut Imwe, as you can see, he comes with the two weapons. He's got his staff, and I think that looks very cool. And because of the way they designed his hand, you can actually extend it out, forward like this. So I think that's very cool in terms of being able to get the kind of dynamic poses with the staff, so he can sort of be engaged in combat with the stormtroopers like he does in the movie. Overall, I think the head sculpt on this looks pretty impressive too. And they did soft goods on the lower part of his outfit too, so that allows for more range of movement with the legs. And they just did a molded cape in the back though, so that kind of inhibits what he can do back here. So I kind of wish they had done that one as soft goods as well. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this. Very nice detail on whatever this is, some kind of piece of tech that he has on him. And as you can see, he comes with this bow weapon as well, which comes apart in two parts, and also has these two side things that sort of flip out. So pretty cool. And again, you can kind of take this apart the middle, so you can see like this front portion pops off. So pretty cool details on this. They got some sort of gold highlighting on that. And I want to go ahead and put it in position so you can see what it looks like when he's holding it with both hands. So let's go ahead and do that. So here you can see I've got it in position where he's holding it with both hands. So pretty cool that they designed this in such a way that the figure does articulate in such a way that you can actually get it into the proper position so that he can actually use it as a weapon. So not too bad. So in terms of articulation on this figure, at the head, he gets a swivel and also front and back movement like this, and also a little bit of side to side tilt as well. So that's pretty cool. At the shoulder, he can extend out, also gets a 360-degree rotation. At the elbow, he gets a bend, also rotation like this. At the wrist, he gets bending back and forth like this, and also a rotation. At the waist, it's pretty much a pivot. I don't see too much in terms of side to side. I guess there's a little bit of side to side, a little bit of front and back as well. But yeah, it's a little tight on a lot of these figures in terms of the waist articulation. At the hip, he can kick out, kick forward, kick back. Also gets a thigh rotation right here. And again, like Baze Malbus, he gets the double jointed knee, so he can bend way far back like this. And also there's bending back and forth at the ankle and the ankle rocker from side to side. So again, pretty similar to Baze Malbus in terms of the leg articulation. And this is pretty typical for most of the Black Series figures. They seem to all kind of have fairly consistent articulation. Some of them better than others. It really depends. It varies from figure to figure in terms of what you're getting. So, but overall, very happy with this figure. So, like I said, I'm very happy with having both these characters in my collection. And once again, I really hope Lucasfilm will do some other project with these characters again in the future. That's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. Until next time, I hope you're having a great day, and may the Force be with you. Thanks for watching.